for illumined life to be birthed into form. I am the truth. I am the light. Illumine, beloved divine.
So hello there everyone, and welcome to this video update with me here today. I've been talking to so many of you for probably over 10 years now, something like that, and been speaking a lot of words and translations and transmissions, and probably even before, from eons of time ago, I've been talking to many of you as the spirit of Aurea, as I call it, as my beautiful spirit mother is called. So today this video will be different than my usual videos. I want to come from a much different perspective, and it's not just me sharing knowledge, information, as I never did actually. I've always talked about the Christ path and the way it's coming through within our mission of Illumined Seed Embodiment called Illumined Ascension Journey Through the Path of Illumined Union. And I began this work on Patreon as a mini group of devotees who would be willing enough to accept this work and to start walking this path. But so far, I don't feel we've managed to really break through in entirety of what this path is about and the importance of it for our planet Earth and in the great universal perspective. So today, this video will be unlike any of my videos before. But I have only one request from you. Please listen to me with your heart. Pay attention and truly listen, because too many people, as I'm witnessing, as I can see, because I can see, I don't have to see people to see the realm of consciousness and what's returning, because we as life force servants and liberators, we work through the currents of life force. And this is how we read energies. This is what we feel the impulse coming and reverberating back. So today's message will be victorious news, glorious news of the great work, but also news about the inner work that is to come for humanity if this is to develop further. So I will talk about this from my great spirit perspective as the spirit mother Aurea, who is the goddess of liberation, as we've talked about before. And whenever I'm within her essence, it's a majestic power that, unlike any power that, you can tap into like outside of yourself. However, you have to understand that great spirit light beings who are operating within the nature of cosmic Christ, they don't create through power. We create through illumination. We create through illumined union. And we create by merging the essence of life with the developmental stage of what is to be illumined next. So I want to now share the higher perspective that recently Aurea shared with me, and why this experience now and experiment of illumined union is so important, and why this further awakening into this path and our dealings with transgressions that have been a part of this for so long, for eons of time truly, are so vital for your own awakening and truly physically ascending experience. So here is the story that she's shared with me in a galactic way of seeing and remembering the history of the way we came here. So as she explained it to me, there were several light beings that kept on being sent to planet Earth to work within the domain of what we're now also assisting with, which is ending once and for all this transgression and the experiences of the dark infiltration. Most people, especially in the New Age or underdeveloped spiritual communities, do not understand the meaning of light versus dark, or the great expression of duality versus polarity, because this is not the same. I've talked about this before, so I won't go into this today, but there is a difference between light and dark existing as the elements of creation, and the physical manifest creation of evil, of transgression, and that which goes against universal law. So me and my group, we were actually trying to prevent this. We're trying to prevent these transgressions within experiments with the human, not just human bodies, but the actuality of the human genome for eons of time. And many light beings were coming here, but it was too difficult for them to actually make the move, to make the progress, to be successful. They kept returning back home. So our group was never physical. We've always worked with putting these life force translations and worked as one within the domain of these groups, because we were assisting the realms of creation since the dawn of time. And we've mastered this art of creation long ago, so our task here is not to learn how to create, but it is to be a volunteer aspect of the Mother Goddess and what she's asking of us, and through the counsel of Elohim, who actually stepped up and asked us to, at this time, for us to be the ones. Because as she's explained it to me, it was difficult for light beings to continue this path. Each one, of course, was a seeding of light that created progress. Each one was like a torchbearer that creates some sort of a breakthrough. However, this is a very specific, very specialized kind of mission that you have to have a really clear understanding of. So for that to be new, for that to be approached new, because within the record memory of many of these trials was also an entrapment of that failure, like we can't do it or it's too difficult, right? And too many have returned back home. So in order for that to occur, I once, years ago, had this channeling about the Elohim dividing themselves again, creating a new creation cycle. So within this new creation cycle, a higher level of these initiatives coming through the embodiments or the embodiers who become physical beings, but they're not a part of, the usual type of soul growth and evolution. They're always orchestrations of spirits. They're powerful spirits. They're light beings. So these beings created a new extension, and Aurea showed it to me like Aurea creating this offspring of her so it could exist and hold form, like physically in this earth format. We know it is now in these human bodies. And I became this extension. And this higher overarching aspect would be the group, which we're called Aureus, which I always see as a circle around her pillar through which she's sending these currents of life force of liberation. So because there was so much memory held in those that couldn't do it, right, the new ones had to. Those who are like blank leaf slates. We were never here before. I told you in my example, I was never physical. I never had visions into lifetimes and experiences. What other people shared it with me, I never could tap into it. And it wasn't until very recently that all of this journey of dealing with transgression was complete, that I was able to receive the entirety and all the insights. It was like all in one package, which was distributed through my consciousness bit by bit in parts, because I couldn't handle it all at once. It was very intense. So as you know, I've been talking about this transgression work for over a year now, probably. Well, maybe a little less. Well, I've been experiencing it for that long. And I've had a little bit of a different perspective over what was really happening. And recently I got the most clearest sign through which I was able to connect, like the final missing piece of information they've given me. I will share everything about this, as always promised, as I do everything. I always unload and deposit all of my knowledge in this great reservoir, this pool of awakening, into this illumination through breakthroughs of the Christ. And specifically in our missions, although they are individual missions, they are influencing the whole. Therefore, these are lifetimes of sacrifice. These are not lifetimes, individual lifetimes when you come to earth to self-fulfill and self-realize. This is a much bigger job, and it's very risky. And many light beings are aware of the responsibility, so not many wanted to come here. So we were the ones invited next. We were the ones needing to create extensions, like physical descendants of our consciousness, that would become conduits for this work. Well, going back again into this work with transgression. So I need to say something now before I give you the latest message of victorious nature, is that what I've seen through this year, and as you could see, my timelines with the videos was shifting through my own shifting experiences. Wherever I was in that present moment, that's what the content was about. That's what the stream of information became. And so this was an emphasis on this entire last year. And as you remember, I even worked with one healer. And I realized through my own experience that there is no healer in this world who has that knowledge of how to do that. Because I realized myself dealing now with these they were like last inklings of this transgression we had to move through in our physical bodies. And of course, they're using my body. This is me doing the work. The group is doing it through me and the beloved, beautiful, most beautiful, powerful spirit of Aurea. And so I remember back then the healer saying, well, seeing the situation, which any healer, of course, can help you with, like giving you maybe an insight, but the healing work is always yours because you're the one doing the breakthrough. It has to be you. And so I remember the healer saying, well, I'm just going to go there, talk to these beings and make the work that I do and make the statements and ask, it's not possible. If it's not coming from you, even if another asks on your behalf, this is not the level of this work. We were dealing with the most evil energy that exists in our universe, one of the most evil energy expressions, which is not falling under the category of attacks. People sometimes still, when I say I was experimented on for over 10 years, people think this is, it's a psychic attack. No, it's not psychic attack, okay? It's not psychic attack. These transgressions go against the very nature of universal law, which means no interbreeding, no forceful invasion into bodies that are not your own creation and your own domain to work within. But, we see seedlings of that also in our human realm. Like the way we're now being forced as humans to, let's just change our genders. Because this is about being non-gender specific. This is masked under so much unveiled darkness that lurks behind the scenes just because people have not yet uncovered it. And they've not seen the greatest evil of all, which is the unseen and unwitnessed and very subtangible evil that exists, downright evil. And I've met this evil face to face and through my own body. But in my own way, I had to volunteer. I had to be the sacrificial lamb. They had to mask my energies. The whole group created this so I could be a bait. So we could do that. And eventually the situation could reach a climax point and it could go to the grand court justice of Elohim, because that does exist. It's not just in fairy tales. You can't make these things up. They are as they are. And I know in the New Age world, there's often this talk about, your opinion over mine, right? The path of Christ is not a path of opinions. It's about facts. It's facts of life that come through universal laws. And you have to be a part of that, knowing you have to be a part of a specific team to know what you're actually working with, what you're dealing with, and what is the truth and what's not. And you know the truth by knowing what's happening, which means you have to embrace reality as real as it is, and not through wishful thinking. So now, the reason why this is so evil, because it goes into the very nature of disrupting the human genome. And our group very closely works with the essence of human genome, which is the encoding that we receive in our own template. And when the templating of a specific race of beings that were created first as divine beings is tempered with, you don't know how it influences the entire creation. So what they've shown me is we had to come here. We had to bring this higher aspect down to earth to create a seed, an inkling of that experience once it's broken through, once the transgression has been, once a breakthrough occurs and there's victory in spirit. That would influence us in spirit. So they recently told me that this great transgression work that we were dealing with for so long now is now complete. However, do not mistake that for my body being healthy. My body has the most horrendous consequences of these vile acts that these beings actually masked. And they have the kind of technology with their knowledge. Their knowledge is advanced, and it's so advanced you as a human cannot detect it. You have to be an advanced spirit, hence we had to come here to unveil it. So we've been studying it for such a long time, and when I've recently conversed with Illumined beings in the Illumined Council, they've said, we don't know, most people don't know that this is such an evil knowledge and so destructive for the entire universe. And hence we were dealing with this transgression for so long. So we had to come to earth to plant the seed of this on the earth realm of happening. So this could be prevented in the long run, in the long term. And recently they told me this work is now complete. We've done the light being, full light intelligence integration through my body. We've once again locked in the full union of spirit light intelligence, which is the light body intelligence, and the human body blueprint. The human child, the firstborn, right? And I had to go through several stages and I've witnessed them all. I was writing it all down. We've uncovered everything, how these beings operate, and I will share all of this and reveal much more in the galactic updates that I'm sharing this month. But this has been so intense. Let me tell you, I've never worked as hard for this to be performed in my body as this last 2 years and this last year specifically, because let me tell you this, if I did not do this, I would die. And I did almost die. And for the first part of that transgression, once it became maximum in potentiality, my body just barely maintained enough life force to keep me alive, to stay alive. And I had to have a lot of assistance of many, many light beings for me to even stay alive, because of the majority of experimentation taking place within my body. And I'll reveal how they do that and what they do to the human cell in the updates. Because that's the thing, it is important for us to know that. Let me explain why. So when the message came that the transgression work is now complete, my mission team told me, but that does not end the work. We need to now go and heal the body, restore all of that which is now in total chaos. Imagine that, the body receiving a total distortion, total chaos. Right? Now everything at the cellular level has to restore itself back and become illumined and be fed through the liquid plasmic light and the light body intelligence. And it's a process in the physical, because these bodies are still dense from the level of light being perspective, and they do need work. This is where we are now. Hence, I will retire for a while after sharing all this content that I need to unload as I birth it as a result of all these breakthroughs. But here's the thing. That's what they said to me today. Yes, we were victorious in spirit. You received the right knowledge. But the problem is, the great challenge still remains in the human race, because humans do not acknowledge. And the way I also know this is to be true, because of my experience, because I've been talking about this transgression for over a year now, I've also talked to people, and whenever I tell them what's been happening to me, they stay complacent. It's almost like, bing, bing. They listen, but they do not hear. They take me like for granted. They take this like lightly. People do not understand how important it is, and my group has been telling me for a while now, we need to gather as much witnesses as possible. Why? This is not a project runway. This is not a competition. This is not like, who wins the race. This is about the human capacity to collectively say no to this. Because like I said, we've been victorious in spirit, but there's still remnants of this transgression and still these aspects playing themselves out, and many people who don't even know they're also being experimented on, because they're subtly allowing it, because of the blindfold that they have and the blind spots through which they're siphoning an energy, but they're also being corded into this grading system. One of my last steps before finishing this transgression work in the body, I could be fully rid of that energy completely on all levels. First in essence, then all the other aspects archetypally, then in the subconscious realms and the astral planes, then emotional and mental levels in the physicality, and last level is the physical nature. The body elemental and the cellular structure of the body is now undergoing this. The energy had to be met on all levels for that to come fully into what we call the human seed and the new cell. Again, I'll talk about that in the galactic updates. But most people, what I'm being shown is they're ignorant to this truth. They think, oh, this is just a woman going crazy. I know a lot of people think that over the years of just going cuckoo. I'm probably one of the most sober people that exist on this planet, that is fully awake and alert into what is happening in our universe and how important that is, because over a year ago, my own spirit beloved counterpart, who is Aurea's counterpart, showed me, and he said, look, this is what's at stake. This is why we're doing this. I know it's super difficult and you almost died, but look, this is what's at stake. And I don't want to see the horrors that I've been seeing and what I was shown and what we're trying to prevent. And what is the real mother's dream? And this is not a love light movement. This is love, wisdom, power, and the embodiment of cosmic Christ in every single way. That's the first step. But then the next step is knowing everything that this is not and still yet exists in our creation. And we've been battling with for such a long aspect of time. And so what pains me the most is the last step, that humans do not realize that this is not just a video you watch and you forget about, and you can't acknowledge it. It's like it bypasses you, because you're watching this for a reason. That's why I told you in the beginning, listen to me with your heart. You're watching this with a purpose. If you're watching this video and somehow haven't turned it off yet, you have a responsibility to yourself and the community of Christ and the entire life in this universe to be preserved in the beauty of our organic creation and immaculate design of our beautiful mother and Father God. The aspect of life that through the Elohim nature of creatorship designed everything as perfection. And it is absolutely against the law to use any aspect of the human as splicing it up and creating these terrible experiments that cause chronic pain. I will deeply go into the nature of chronic pain in the galactic update, because everything was exposed. I've received everything, how they work, what they do with the nervous system, at the cellular level, and how we can heal. Because like they told me when we conversed with the beautiful healer beings of cosmic Christ nature, and they said there was healing trials for a very long time, but no one had the right knowledge. And I think that's where we're here now. We have the knowledge. And I'm going through this very process now, and I'll tell you, it is so painful. I've never experienced as much pain in my life. It is constant. Now, it's all up in my head. It was also, as you know, in the sciatic nerve area. And what they do is they hit the most important aspects where the light body is embedding itself into the physical human body. So everything was divinely planned and orchestrated for it to reveal and be revealed at its maximum culmination point, which was just recently for us. And the problem that still remains is because there's too many ignorant people that even when they get a chance to watch this video, because you know there's only already a select few who even get that close to even pay attention. But there's even fewer of those who would be willing to acknowledge that it is the truth that is happening. Why would I be lying to you? I'm on a mission to spread this truth because it's universal. The entire life is at stake if we don't do anything about it. And it's our great divine mother that's calling us all to simply become aware. All you have to do is listen, acknowledge it as the truth that exists out there. And even if it's not what you perceive right now happening to you, know that it's happening and it's out there, and it's one of the greatest evils that exist. It's not what you're seeing in the news. That's just the cover. Like, it's very out in the open. As you can see now, the evil at that level is being very much unveiled and masked. What before was so hidden, it's coming to very much seen aspect right away. But that aspect of darkness is still yet to be revealed. And we are the first ones doing this work because we were courageous and brave enough to do this. Because we also have the knowledge and the skills. However, that doesn't mean that for my human self, my human counterpart, this is an easy thing to do. My human child is probably one of the most wounded aspects. And as beautiful as I feel when I'm in my light being and I'm in my training mode and I'm doing the work, when I just simply drop into my human, I'm devastated, I'm tired, I'm exhausted. Do you imagine I've lost all my hair because of this? Because of this energy that experimented me for so long. Do you know what it's like for a woman who used to have beautiful, luscious, thick hair to lose all of her hair and to have nothing but fluff? I can't even do my hairdo anymore. It's terrible. And I do believe that the body can heal, but not right away. Right? This first transgression completion, as they told me, had to be complete, this first stage. So all of the life force, all the energy input went into this so we could finally finish it. And we've done it. They said in my latest light activation, when I received the divine intelligence through the light being, the light body, they said it's now complete. Now the stage 3 begins, which is the healing the body, remedying the consequences that the body had with meeting with all these violations and these falsely imprinted energetics and configurations that are not natural and normal for the human, right? And this also simultaneously made me stronger, and it made me aware of the archonic design and how every single human who's still not awake and hasn't done the work is still plugged into the matrix. Whether you believe in it or not, you're plugged in, even people who know that the matrix is real. Because recently, the last part, like I said, was unplugging from that. It was so painful for me to experience that. But I did. And we prayed every single day. We did everything in our power to do this, and we managed to do it. But this is just one body, beloved ones. This is just one body. What happens when I leave the planet? Will this legacy stay? Will it be heard? Will people hear? Will they realize what's happening and what's still left for humanity to break through and overcome? So the only thing that Spirit is asking me to ask you today is please listen, please acknowledge this. Don't take this lightly. Don't think I'm having a life of leisure and enjoyment just because you see me recording a video in the beautiful outside. You know that it's been months since I've truly enjoyed the great outdoors. Yes, I do spend time outside, but I'm not really present with nature. I'm always just in my vessel doing the work, nonstop, 24/7. You know how painful this is for me. I have a great elven love for nature, and the way I used to be with nature, I'm no longer able. I can't walk the mountains anymore. There's aspects of life that I simply can't engage with in the manner that I used to, and I do believe I can in the future. I don't know how long it takes, but I know it's possible. But where I am now, it's deeply, horrendously painful. And just when I think, oh, it's past, it's past, and another wave comes. And it's like everything in the body is now trying to restructure and normalize itself. And it's so painful. I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. And that's how much love we had to come here to stop these interferences. But the only thing you have to do right now, if you're still watching somehow, thank you if you are, just pay attention, listen, and say, I acknowledge that that is the truth. And when you do, you're no longer ignoring this aspect of the darkness. You're inviting it to come, to resurface, and to show itself. Show your face to your face, right? Show its face to your face. And no longer be ignored. Because when we ignore it and push it aside, it will always continue to influence us and manipulate us and enslave us and use our bodies in harmful ways. And the love of the creation, the love of Creator does not want that. That love is pure, it's untainted, it wants nothing else but for all the children to thrive. And unfortunately, I had to sacrifice my own body. That I had to endure so much pain for that to become maybe a possibility for those who will say yes to this. And no longer stay ignorant or watch the video and then plug off and think about something else in the next moment. I see that. It does not really touch people. I haven't really met one person with deep compassion for what I experienced. I post some pictures on Instagram and people think, oh, she's fine. Look at her posting pictures in nature. That's what people think. And I'm not fine. I'm not fine. This will take time. And people need to start acknowledging this. If the work that we managed to create as a breakthrough in spirit will precipitate into the realm of earth, and this one day no longer being the earthly experience. I think one day when I leave the planet, that's my greatest wish, for that to become a legacy. I'm not here to create followers or people to like me. I don't care if people hate me or not. You don't have to like me personally. I don't have to appeal to you in taste. In a way that I speak, I am that I am. I am in the way I am. I cannot be any other way. But I do ask you to at least consider that and open your heart so that the darkness can be veiled once and for all, even through your own consciousness, not just mine and that of those few beings who are also now a part of this. There's still many who are being experimented on that do not know. And hence we're doing the work through the collective human gene pool so it can reverberate through and create once again an establishment of the right order and the immaculate design of illumined union. That's the work, that's how it's called. So if you ever want to go deeper, the work is there. Show love, show appreciation, but not just witnessing what I share here on YouTube, but maybe invite yourself to become a part of the devotee team who are willing to go deeper and receive more information about this. Because that's the focus of my work on Patreon, is to bring everything I receive into the informational infusion and the platform there, that the work can be shared with those who are interested and willing to receive it in purity that is being delivered. And not making it into something less than and not important. And it will take time for me to heal. And hence, like I said, one of these latest videos that I uploaded this month will be one of my last ones for now. I don't know until when, but I'm guided to retire for a while so that really I can focus on my body, heal my body deeply from within, that once and for all it's just rid of pain. Imagine having so much pain that you don't even care if you're bald anymore, as long as you would stop hurting. And it's not just me. How many people are having chronic pain and they don't know the source of it or what's even the matter with them and how this is still entrapped in the human distorted templates. If you want to learn more, you're always going to be welcome in my sacred space on Patreon, but please take it as it is. It's a space of cosmic Christ path through illumined union, which means we have to remove the dark tentacles that still exist in this realm. There is no other way. The Christ always has to move through the darkest aspects of life in order to reinvent life in a new way, and we can be victorious once and for all. I'm sorry when I say these words. I can really feel the love of all the beings that ever suffered for this plan. I'm not the only one. I know there was many. And so many sacrificing themselves for this plan out of love for the human creation, for the beauty that is the human. And we were attacked and we were mistreated, not just by the dark, also by the ignorant people who do not understand us, who think we're idiots. You know who's the idiot? No one. There is no idiots. There's just people who are ignorant and unwilling to wake up. And I get so excited at times as my inner child sees such beauty on the other side. And I know when you realize this, when you see the truth of it all, you're so excited. You're like standing on top of the mountain. You want to share this world, this view with everyone. And there's no one to view it with you. You're the only one watching. You're like, where's everyone? And everyone is down in the valley asleep. And they're sleeping bodies. And you're like, am I the only one awake? And Spirit says, yes, for now, at this level. And recently, Aurea said, there's no one right now like you who's gone that deep. Yes, there might be amazing beings on the planet. I know, for sure. But you know how very few of them actually undergo this and go to the very end. You have to be such a resilient spirit to do that. You have to not fear anything. You can never give up. And I've been like that. And even when I had my moments, I didn't tell everything to you. I didn't share everything with the public. I've had, even before this, the chronic pain, like constant electricity. I couldn't even move my head for weeks. And I didn't know what it was, until it was all time to be revealed. I didn't know. And because I didn't know, it continued harming me nonstop. Do you see? It perseveres because you continuously ignore it. And without compassion, there will be no understanding of what these forces are and who we are against them when we stand against and we fight and we say no. Because we remember that we are God. We were created by the most powerful beings in this universe and all the genetic pools of many, many star races. And yet we play ignorant, small, unaware children that do not want to see the boo-boo. But there's nothing scarier than our own ignorance. That's the truth. So please open your heart. Please know that my life was not easy. I've lived one of the most difficult lives on this planet. The only thing that I have is a few beautiful nature moments. And that's it. That's all. This body has not known a lot of love. It's very much a paradox because I'm so full of love. I have so much love for life, for creation. I would liberate everyone if I could with just one wink of a wand. If I had the power, but I don't. Because it's beyond my domain. Everyone has to make up their own mind and wake up to their own will and their own powerful sovereignty. I wish I could, but I can't. It's not in my power. But it was in my power to teach, to share this. So for these 10 years, I've been sharing and speaking. And a lot of times, I know it fell to deaf ears. But every single little inklings of time, from time to time, there comes someone who comes across this, that has something, that opens up a pool of resonance, and they're willing to do something about it. And they recognize this, and they say, yes, this is also for me. And I'm going to be one of these courageous ones, and I'm also going to do the work. And even if it's just a few, it's enough for now. And once I'm gone from this planet, which I'm sure is going to be one day soon, for sure, how life passes quickly on Earth. I will see again from a higher perspective how far this has really been anchored into the human realm. I will know before that time comes, but until I'm here with every bit of my heart, I will keep on praying that this does reach as many people as possible. And like my team said, we're needing as many witnesses as possible because these witnesses are bringing the energy up to a level that can be recognized. And it's almost like, if you want to reinforce a new law, and there's this survey and you have to have people who will sign it, signing the bills. That's why these witnesses are needed. It's not like a physical something you're signing, but you're agreeing to that. And you're stating your claim of devotion to this and your fearful nature. And you're not afraid. And you're not afraid to see what's behind the door. Because only when I myself saw through it, and that peak crucial moment just before I almost died, it was one of the most important moments in my life. I will tell you, everything I knew before in my reality has altered. I've not been the same since then, but thank God. I'm so alive now in terms of presence and consciousness and alertness and seeing through things that I wasn't before. And that's the gift that this working with this transgression has given me. And I can share this gift by extending it to you, but you will have to become it yourself. No one becomes you but yourself. So I wish for everyone to become as a super badass cosmic master one day that we once were before we started these missions, as we also had to learn somewhere. And now here we are, and here I am. And please remember to invite compassion into your heart and just feel. Feel for this body. Feel for this human who's been here so often in these 10 years, nonstop. I'm not paid for this. I just do it because I love and because I know what Spirit wants me to address. And that's it. That's my only reason. So thank you for watching. I will retire for a while in the duration of this month and in the infinite matter of speaking. I don't know. And I don't know. Maybe it's my last video. No one knows. Thank you, beloved ones, for being here and for watching. And not just listening, but paying attention. As always, with love, wisdom, and power. Goodbye.